Hi, it's Matthew McAllister here. Today I'm going to share with you one of my favourite exercises. This exercise is all about negotiating your way up the fingerboard and back down using every single finger with some interesting pattern work in the right hand, and it doesn't follow the normal kind of format of, let's say, chromatic scale or major scale or minor scale. It's using a diagonal shape, 1, 2, 3, 4, on 4 strings. I'm choosing to start on the D string and go all the way up to the top E string. But every time I move, it's diagonally across the fingerboard. So that was D sharp, A, D, and G sharp. And then I come back down. And that's F, C sharp, B flat, and F sharp. So on the way up, and then on the way down. And then you move up a fret and start the whole pattern in second position. Then third position. And of course now we're starting to get further up the fingerboard. Here we are arriving into 5th position. Frets are getting smaller. I have to be very accurate with my placement of every fingertip. So I'm placing my index fingertip, middle fingertip, ring fingertip, and pinky finger or 4th finger right behind the fret and keeping nice and high on those fingertips. The right hand's kind of fun. I'm using PIMA to ascend, and then I'm doing a drag with I finger on the way back down. So it's PIMA on the way up, and then I use my index finger and drag it back down all 4 strings, and then I go back to the thumb and begin the upward pattern. There's a huge amount of pieces in the guitar repertoire that involve this idea of dragging a finger back down. You know, I mean, even things come to mind immediately like the cadenza in the second movement of Aranjuez. You have all these different rhythmical groupings, and you want to try and find patterns that can have I drags or A finger drags on the descending part. It's a really smooth way to play back down the strings. Imagine a harpist pulling their finger, a glissando, on the strings of the harp. So you're doing P-I-M-A and then I drag. So I'll do a little bit faster now. Another thing to watch out for in your technique here, and this is a really good way to see if you actually have this problem, is watching your left arm movement. If when you do the descend, you change the position of the arm, and you've got any movement of the arm here, like I'm sort of demonstrating now, you really don't want the arm to be that involved in this movement. You're just incrementally going up the fingerboard 1 fret at a time. So try and keep that arm relaxed. Let the fingers do the work. Frets are getting smaller. You can vary the tempo. Down is a little bit harder. When you go down, you've got to watch for buzzing and squeaking, especially as you lift the finger 1, depending on how you move. So now I'm going to bring the camera a little bit closer in, and you can watch how the left hand is walking up the fingerboard and how close to the back of each fret my left hand fingertips are. Okay, so here we are very close in on my left hand, and I'm going to show you this exercise and how it works. So we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're ascending a fret at a time. Now, a nice way you can practice this is 2 different types of, let's say, articulation. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm playing everything very legato, and I'm allowing the fingers to ring. So almost at the end, I have a chord. The other way to do it is to do a kind of détaché idea, where you lift as the next note comes on. So you don't have a chord anymore, and you're distributing the weight from each fingertip very quickly. So you're essentially passing the energy from one finger to the other. That's quite a lot of fun to practice. So you've got the one which is very legato and very smooth, and then you've got one which is very détaché. Sometimes I'm changing the rhythm, the speed. One fast, one slow. It's quite fun. That way of practicing in different speed bursts is nice, because you're sort of testing the fingers to see if they'll still respond and still have such good finger placement when you put them under a little bit of pressure and play a little bit faster. The fingertips being right behind the fret is very important. So if I think about where the lines are on my fingertips, you can see the string indentation or pressing mark is right on the fingertip. I'm not allowing any collapsing of my tip joints as I move across here. A fast attaché there, nice legato, fast attaché. So muck about with them. So playing almost with a bit of a swell there, and then playing with a bit of vibrato on the top. I do that with all my technical exercises. I try to make them interesting. I don't just play them kind of monotonous, one dynamic, one articulation. The more you can bring colour and left hand colour, I mean as well, some vibrato, different weights of pressure, the more interesting and the more agile your left hand will become. Okay, so I hope you enjoy that exercise. A little bit different from your normal traditional scale work or any chromatic work. The diagonals is quite a lot of fun. You're practicing a little bit of pivoting in there as well when you ascend and descend. Change the rhythms, make it a little bit more interesting. Sometimes it's interesting because you're doing PIMA on the way up to try and accent a different finger. So you accent maybe 1 or 3 or 2 or 4, and that way again you're giving yourself another thing to think about once the exercise becomes kind of routine, and then you're developing a little bit of emphasis control and accent control. Okay, put it into your practice warm-up or your routine, maybe just for 5 minutes. You'll find that very quickly your fingers are a little bit more flexible and move quite fast up and down that fingerboard. Good luck.